Kaskit's Cookie Caper, a Diaper School story. Story and concept design by Lulu. It was the start of another normal day for Kaskit. Normal, for a little darkling, could mean lots of stuff. But for Kaskit, it meant waking up in a cozy vent, her diaper mildly damp, with a rumbly tum-tum. From beyond her vents, a particular scent made Kaskit's lil obsidian nose wiggle. Someone in the cafeteria kitchen had just finished a batch of cookies, and they smelled like they were calling to Kaskit. She couldn't believe her eyes. A full tray, unguarded and fresh, was laid out in the test kitchen. Who would be so foolish or generous? Kaskit didn't have time to consider, only to nom. Kaskit looked at her hands, remembering Miss Anna espousing the importance of hygiene. After evaporating off the top layer of shadowy stuff from her paws, she dove into her prize. At the bottom of the pile, almost as if it were placed there as a test, laid a cookie, rainbow chips and larger than the rest, with a note. Kaskit knew Sakura. She was a puppy girl. Kaskit had already taken a quick test nibble for safety before accepting that Sakura, who lived on the other side of campus, would probably be sad if her cookie disappoofed into Kaskit's tum-tum. No sooner had she committed to doing a good deed, Kaskit sniffed a smell that was not her own behind, which had expanded a bit due to all the cookies. No, this was a human, a very friendly hall monitor, Caroline. Kaskit would be snuggled for hours. Her cookie cargo would be undelivered and could go stale. This was not good. Kaskit had wandered deeper into the kitchen with her bounty, and now Carol was closer to her entry than herself. This left only one other vent. Now in full retreat, Cookie in the safety of her vest, Kaskit leapt into the vent and did her best attempt to pull herself up quietly. But the clamoring and clamoring only alerted Caroline fully. Despite her dexterity, small size, and limber speed, Kaskit's loaded diaper proved a bit more pudgy than the vent appreciated. She was, in a word, stuck. About the same time, Kaskit began to wail, "You'll never take me alive, Copper!" and twist her legs and kick her feet. She felt two gentle but firm palms press on the seat of her loaded diaper. The motion felt like she was about to be captured, so she struggled all the more. Section 301C of the Hall Monitor Handbook clearly stated students stuck in the process of egress into dangerous areas and hazardous spaces should not be fought. Instead, gentle assistance, logging of the incident, and then alternative pursuit were the specified methods. Caroline, though, thought about this while she got a nice, good sniff of Kaskit's diaper. Oh boy, it was stinky, but that wasn't any reason to be rude or unhelpful. And since Caroline didn't know anything about Kaskit's cookie consumption, she didn't see a reason to do anything more than give another squishy push and dislodge Kaskit, enabling her exit and escape. Just like that, though the squishes made her bottom shiver, she was freed and back in her domain. Kaskit felt a hot blush creep up her cheeks. She knew Caroline liked a girl who reeks, but the squeaks and whinnies from within the kitchen made Kaskit feel like she needed to grab her things and sneak off to find Sakura sooner rather than later. Just because she was liberated from her own escape hatch didn't mean Caroline would not be trying to wait at any of her usual exit points. With another squish that kept her cheeks aflame, Kaskit knew she didn't have enough time to change. She had to waddle and crawl as fast as she could. Her uniform skirt always seemed magically capable of masking a little stink, She'd grab it with her jacket before making her trek to Sakura. She didn't have a long journey, but with a loaded diaper and a time crunch, she had to hurry. In her smaller form, she was able to crawl the vents with speed, even with the added baggage. The cookie safely stored in the extra planar pocket built into the inside of her vest, she waddled onward to a stinky symphony of crinkles and squishes. Once she had retrieved her skirt and jacket, she was ready to proceed. She thought once more about investing the time for a change. She decided she would take her chances and take a peek from the vents to see if Caroline was lurking nearby. No good on the change. Caroline had clearly been taking notes and was still taking them. She was right there at the easiest exit to the main halls. Kaskit would need to head around, and worse, she would need to wiggle through the vents directly above Caroline. This was the moment of truth. Could Kaskit shimmy through the vent with this stink besetting her? For the sake of Sakura's treat, she had to try. Kaskit began her trek across the dusty duct. Sure, her odor would betray and alert the hall monitor patiently patrolling beneath her. Pulling her booty forward produced a prodigious amount of pungent perfume within the vent. Kaskit wished she hadn't eaten all of the cookies, but only for a moment as she recalled their delicious texture and taste. What a noisy vent! Kaskit tried to lament something other than the scent that was drifting out of her hiding place and creating an obvious trace for Caroline to notice. Kaskit held her breath. She held her place. She didn't dare move yet. Caroline was sniffing the air. Was Kaskit found out already? When all seemed lost, Caroline did something peculiar. She turned around and shrugged, looking over her shoulder. Kaskit had to press her face against the grate to get a good look, but she could see why Caroline was so thoroughly unconvinced by all of the obvious signs. She was hefting just as heavy of a diaper on her own behind. Kaskit breathed a very quiet sigh of relief. Kaskit took this as her chance to crawl to the other side of the vent and make a swift exit. And on the other side of that vent was freedom and a fun slide down towards the lower reaches of the school, to the ground floor or lower. Kaskit wasn't always sure where the vents would take her, but they always got her to where she wanted to go, so she trusted the vents. Her padding was thick enough to deal with any sudden drops, and there were a bunch. Kaskit landed with a familiar and admittedly comfy squish. She was in an older, disused vent. She had slid for a little too long. Beside her, a trespassing slime spent too long staring in shock. Kaskit grabbed the invading monster and took a nice big test nibble. It tasted like, well, dark, cold, and refreshing. She dropped him down her mouth with an indulgent gulp. She couldn't describe it, but those little annoying jellies were rather satisfying. And now she could ignore the fact there was still a delicious cookie hiding out in her vest. A sign deep in the cavey parts of the vents? How rude! How expectant! Kaskit snarked that they could put up signage all day, but it didn't matter if she refused to read it. What dangers could be present in her vents? Not long after, Kaskit found out exactly what threats her vents still posed, even to their mistress. She hung on for what she believed was her little shadow booty life until she caught an actual whiff of the vapors roiling up from beneath her. Giggle gas? She snorted, practically immune to poisons and toxins, and already unpotty trained. She had no fear of this stuff, aside from it probably being sticky and hot. Best to play monkey bars. In the safety of her plushy puppy pad, Sakura stirred at the jingling ring of Kaskit's text message. She made sure her posture and posing were daring enough to get Sakura motivated and moving for the morning. Kaskit loved to send Sakura pictures of places it was difficult for her to wiggle into on her own. Since Kaskit's specialty was infiltration and escape, and the vents her domain, she often sent Sakura brazen pics of her exploits within the walls. Sakura knew to not leave Kaskit up to her own devices for too long. Sakura put aside her changing stuff and went to quickly wash her face and brush her teeth. Diaper School never ran out of free and complimentary wet wipes, so she wouldn't feel icky despite only having time for a proper diaper change and not a shower. Plus, most humans wouldn't smell the faintest aromas she could. She'd smell like a plum princess even if she just used those wipes. Kaskit, for her credit, was showing off in ways that were relatively harmless and safe for a darkling. She'd still probably manage to get into trouble if Saki didn't hurry, and the pupper's tail wagged with eager joy as if intercepting Kaskit's boundless energy to add to her own. Kaskit didn't get to see more than Saki's smiling face rolling down the hall as she made her own zooming movement down a hallway. Behind her, a not-so-happy cube darkling pursued, though its pace was languid. It knew where all the dead ends were down here in this maze of nonsense. Kaskit could sniff something chilly nearby, though, blown by dusty vent fans. She was close to where she belonged. She was right! Dodging those slow fan blades and hopping up with the wind stream, Kaskit not only felt the smooth, silky winter air above, but she even knew where she was going. She had found her super secret shortcut. This was just an extra secret alternative Route B. With giggles and snickers, she twirled and hopped from stopped fans and climbed toward the fresh air. Her emergence into the snowy garden was bright, but fortunately overcast with clouds. Kaskit wished it could be twilight all day. All the bright and the white made her awfully easy to spot. Still, just being outdoors provided her with numerous new scents she could track, and one was Sakura, nearby too. Kaskit wondered if she could sneak up on Sakura in this white, blinding wonderland. Too eager was she in her approach and sneaking that Kaskit didn't even feel the vibration of her phone with the message from Sakura. A puppy's nose was just as astute as that of a darkling, and Kaskit had not thought to consider the direct of the wind. Being caught in the act this time, however, was not as thrilling. Instead, it simply made Kaskit blush as she watched Sakura turn around to greet her. "My cookie!" Sakura exclaimed, seeing her promised treat from the cafeteria had been brought to her specially. "I kept it safe, and check it to make sure it was fresh," Kaskit proudly explained, nodding to herself. Sakura didn't seem upset. "You're so sweet, we should share it," she asserted. Kaskit did not dare to complain or resist. Cookie sounded excellent.